Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Friday, January 6, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, you can always find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Friday in college basketball. First up, it's Akron and Ball State. This one's going to be 8:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. And not my favorite card for Friday in college basketball. Not a lot of games on the board. We're going to see that a lot in Friday cards. Usually there's a huge Saturday card in college hoops with 120 plus games on the board, but Friday, not a ton of action. Ivy League, MAAC, those are the conferences we're going to see a lot on Friday. Now, in this particular matchup, I am liking Akron. We're actually getting a few points here with the Zips, and, I do think they're going to win this game outright. When you look at Ball State, yes, they're on a 6-game win streak, and yes, they just took down a very tough Toledo team. That was a true road game for Ball State, so very impressive win there, 90-83. But when you look at this 6-game win streak and you look at the teams that Ball State played, very, very bad defensively, very, very, very bad defensive teams. Eastern Illinois, Evansville, Illinois State, Georgia Southern, Chicago State, and Toledo. Even Toledo, who's ranked 107th in KenPom this season overall, is ranked 288th in adjusted defensive efficiency. Toledo's an offense first and really offense second and third as well type of team. So Ball State, a team that can shoot the ball very well from the perimeter, they get to the free throw line a ton, one of the best teams at getting to the free throw line. They're naturally going to benefit from playing defenses like Toledo, so there really wasn't a big surprise to see Ball State put up those 90 points against that Toledo defense. It's also a Toledo team that plays at a very fast pace, so naturally there's going to be a lot of scoring from both teams in those types of matchups. And like I mentioned with the other teams, these are Eastern Illinois, Evansville, these are teams ranked outside the top 300, so I do worry about that non-conference strength of schedule for Ball State. Now you're playing a team like Akron, who's one of the better defenses you faced all season long, a good rebounding team that does not take too many fouls on defense. They're also a good 2-point defensive team as well. And they're also able to force some turnovers. I do think Akron's defense is going to win the day in this one. I think Akron's offense is also a little bit underrated right now. They're not shooting the ball well, but they're taking care of the basketball. They're getting those second chance opportunities. They're getting to the free throw line. So I like Akron's chances to attack this pretty weak Ball State defense that's right now ranked 235th in adjusted defensive efficiency. And I do think Akron's going to get a lot of offensive rebounds in this game. Ball State has struggled to defend the defensive glass and given up a lot of offensive rebounds to opposing teams. So I think Akron wins this game outright. Give me the Zips in this one. Next up, we see Stanford taking on Cal. This one's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU. I'd be really careful with the common opponents angle in college basketball and really in all sports. As yes, you look at Stanford, they lost to Colorado at home by 3 points, 73-70, back on December 29th. And then you look at the Cal Bears, they just beat Colorado 80-76. So if Cal beats Colorado and Stanford loses to Colorado, then Cal should beat Stanford. But I'd be careful with that because you look at the fact that, yeah, Cal beat Colorado. Colorado beat Tennessee. Does that mean California has a chance against Tennessee, even at home? I don't think so. I think that's a 20-point blowout going away, if not worse. So, just be careful with that. I do think Stanford is the much better team still in this matchup. When you look at Cal's upset win over Colorado, you look at the fact that Colorado shot 7 of 26 from 3, 26.9%. On the other side, Cal, 7 of 13, 53.8% for a team that's ranked right now 349th in the country in three-point shooting. This is not a very good shooting team. They had one breakout performance shooting the basketball. It was a home game, and yes, they're going to be home for this one as well. But Stanford is a pretty good defensive team. They're great on the defensive glass. They force those turnovers, pretty good perimeter defense. And although Stanford's offense has some issues, especially with turnovers, I think it's good enough to win this game and cover it on the road. I expect a bounce-back performance from the Cardinal in this one after 2 straight losses. Give me Stanford here. It's a letdown spot for Cal. I'm going to take the Cardinal. Next up, let's talk some Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference basketball. This one's going to be 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN3, Niagara and Fairfield. Now, I think these teams are really similar when you just look at their raw offensive and defensive numbers in terms of adjusted efficiency, but I do think the Fairfield Stags have the advantage being the home team, playing the tougher non-conference schedule, and playing the better fundamental basketball, better rebounding team. They force more turnovers. They limit more turnovers offensively. They get to the free throw line quite a bit. They're also a good perimeter defense. So, Fairfield opened the season with a lot of true road games and neutral site games against some tough teams. You throw in Wake Forest, Xavier, Towson, Mercer in the mix, and for that reason, their non-conference schedule was ranked 189th in KenPom strength of schedule, while Niagara, their strength of schedule was was 317th in non-conference play. And when we've seen Niagara play away, play true road games, they have struggled. Yes, they've lost to teams that we would expect them to lose to, Maryland, St. John's, and Iona, but they've also lost to teams that we would expect Niagara to compete with, and teams like Bucknell and NJIT. That's a bad NJIT loss, in my opinion, a 9-point loss in a true road game. Now, Fairfield, on the other side, they played a lot of road games and neutral site games, like we said, but they also played some home games, and when they played at home, they played pretty well. They've had a good record straight up at home this season. I think they're going to be good enough here to grab the win and cover in the end. So give me Fairfield laying the points. Next up, it's Marist and Iona. This one's 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN+. You know, this is not my favorite card, like I said, and these are the type of games I would normally stay away from, but I am going to lean towards Marist and the boatload of points with the home team, as yes, Iona is playing great basketball this season. They're ranked 59th in KenPom. They're on a 3-game win streak, and they're 3-0 right now in conference play, but they have not really been tested away from home this season. They played 2 true road games all year, and they lost both of those games, giving up 80-plus points in both of those games. One of those losses to Hofstra, a team that you would expect Iona to beat. So, you know, Marist is not a great offensive team, that's for sure, but they're playing a team that's struggling defensively away from home. They're also playing a team in Iona that Marist competed with pretty well last year. You look at the 2 matchups that Marist and Iona had last year. The first game was a home game for Marist. It was 78-71, pretty close game. And then the second game was a true road game for Marist, and they were able to keep it within 3 points, 69-66 final score. Now, I do think that last year's Marist team was a lot better than this year's, but still, this is a Marist team that's proven to compete with Iona, even during the Pitino years, as Rick Pitino took over the program a few years back. I think Marist can at least cover the number. I don't think they have much of a chance to even sniff at an outright upset win, but I do think they cover the number at home. So give me the boatload of points with the Marist Red Foxes in this one. And the final game we're to talk about for Friday's card in college basketball, it's between Western Michigan and Toledo. This one's 6:30 Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Now, Western Michigan has only got 1 win this season against a Division I opponent. That was against Houston Christian, the 352nd ranked team in KenPom, a 90-84 win on the road. Their other 3 wins this year were all against subdivision opponents. Now, Western Michigan did play a pretty tough non-conference schedule, and you know I do think that's going to prepare them for games like these against teams like Toledo. But overall, I just can't trust this Western Michigan defense, ranked 348th in adjusted defensive efficiency. They force virtually no turnovers. Opponents get really easy, wide-open looks quite often against Western Michigan. And, you know, although I do think Western Michigan's offense is good, and they're a very good rebounding team, it should get a lot of second-chance opportunities against the Toledo team. It's not good defensively and not a good rebounding team. It's the fact that Toledo plays at such a fast pace, and their offense is so potent that Toledo could score 80, 90, maybe even 100 points in this matchup, and I wouldn't even be surprised, and it should still be enough to cover the number, even if they give up those 80 points that they've been giving up to their opponents. So, like I said, Toledo 20th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. They rarely turn the ball over. A very good shooting team from basically all over the court. The free throw line, 3-point line, 2-point range. And Western Michigan's defense just not going to hold up in a game like this, in my opinion. Like I said, the Broncos should score some points, so I think the over is certainly worth a look. But I'm going to lay the points here with Toledo to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bet, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.